Now, when we think about wellness, wellness is something that's going to win this race. If we think about this, wellness is going to what makes it. So when we get to the other side of this experience is we're okay and we are intact. And my gentle invitation that I desperately want you to hear right now is that your wellness is not all or nothing. It's not, I'm 100% dialed in or I'm 100% off the rails. No one is perfect when it comes to wellness, and the goal of wellness isn't perfection. It's showing up, it's being present, it's doing the small things that we can that are going to have a beneficial effect. So to give yourself permission that it doesn't have to be perfect, and it might not look the way it did prior to COVID-19 or before this event. So maybe you can't get to the gym or follow the classes or do those things that you used to do, but you can still do something. And a little bit of something is better than nothing. A way to think about wellness, and one of the things that actually the research shows has one of the biggest gains for us on wellness, is this practice that I call bookending. And what bookend ending is that you start your day and end your day strong. So think about it as protecting your first hour of the day, making sure when you wake up in the morning that that first hour is something where you do the things that make sense for you to do, that it could be something as simple as making your bed and having a glass of water, but making sure we're not just like jumping onto media and kind of letting the other rest of the world set our day, like making sure we win our mornings and we make what matters most, so then that way we can show up in our day and feel engaged and already accomplished. And then on the other side of that is closing off your day, protecting that last hour of your day, so that way you can feel recharged and prepare yourself for sleep, which is so crucial for wellness. Another one we think about, so many of us, when we were commuting and moving around, we were getting all these natural ebbs and flows of stretch breaks. And right now, as we're not getting those stretch breaks like we used to, so thinking about how can you purposely get up, move around, and stretch is going to really help while you're working in some of these different locations. Another thing that's so crucial for our wellness is look for the good news stories. There's a lot of negativity, but there's also a lot of beautiful things happening. And this is that famous kind of Mr. Rogers quote about, look for the helpers in the time of a crisis. And for me, my like TSN turning point to this whole thing was when I saw an article about the baby penguins in the Chicago Aquarium. And apparently the penguins were getting lonely because they didn't have visitors coming to see them. And they require those visitors to actually help with them to stay mentally stimulated. And so the people that look after the penguins were worried about them. So what they ended up doing was they opened the gates to the penguin pavilion and let the penguins go explore the other exhibits at the Chicago Aquarium. And they have all this footage of these little baby penguins like walking by the shark tank and like tapping on the glass and saying hi to a beluga whale. And it was just this moment for me where just seeing nature and just seeing kind of things outside of the box really helped be that good news story that helped me remind me that I have to keep looking for those. I have to go seek them out. I have to find them. Another one we can think about is this idea of connecting with nature. We know when we think about wellness practices, nature is so incredibly important. Nature is a gift that shows us every day how resilient the world is. It shows us the change of seasons, capacity for flexibility and growth and renewal and repair. And, with today being Earth Day, what I think is so important is that we find time every day to acknowledge the nature. And I know some of us are, living in concrete jungles and we don't get a chance to be in green space. But even going on out on your balcony or in your backyard or your front door and just being in nature and seeing what's there is actually incredibly restorative. It's a simple micro behavior that has a huge return on investment. Another one that I think about, and when I look at the research on wellness, is this idea about protecting your peace. And ultimately, you are the only one who can do this work. You are the only one who can keep you well. You are the only one who can actually enact the behaviors that help you stay on your A game. And one of the things that I come upon when I think about micro behaviors and wellness is that it's crucial that we protect our peace. And that's sometimes all we can do is just make sure that we're okay in this. And one of the things that I would invite you to think about is, can you set a word of the week that's going to help you stay focused on your wellness? And you know what? Week one, for the whole week, it might just be water. Let's just start drinking some water, right? And this practice of maybe next week, we might think about stretching. And then the week after, we might think about nature. And what we know is if we set up micro behaviors to walk us through these, we're more likely to do them versus if we try to do all of this at once. So maybe pick one or two you want to try, set up a word or an intention, and let that guide you. You can even put it up on your fridge or a post-it note, make it your battle board that this is what I'm going to think about this week. This is what I'm going to take down. But again, it's the idea that this behavior is going to help us stay well during these times. And I like to think about it is successful people are those who have successful habits. We know we are in routines and routines are important, but we know it's the habits within those routines that are going to keep us well.